Coin for ZBrush, OBJ, let's import this sucker. In fact, you know what, forget that, let me just import this instead. Coin for Maya Geo, open. Okay, so, let me draw out my coin. Let's go to edit mode really quick. This coin already has my details on it. I have a high res and a low res for this. If I go into my geometry, let's reconstruct subdivision levels. Actually, no, this is not going to work. So let's just and
well, I think we should create a script.
what? Okay, all right. Just give me 1 second. I'll get there in a second. All right. Coin for ZBrush. Open. Okay. ZBrush. We are going to import. Where is it? Import coin for ZBrush. Open. I'm going to draw the coin out. Beautiful. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to add something. I'm going to import my alpha. Oh my god, ZBrush. Where are you? Coin grayscale JPEG. That's not what I want. I want JPEG front. So I'm going to click, and I am not going to do dots. I'm going to do a drag. I'm going to make sure I do it right from the middle. And here we go. Boop. Alright, my coin has Geo on it. Beautiful. Chances are my auto masking wasn't on, so we're going to go back. I'm going to go into my brush settings, go to auto masking, and make sure that I have back face mask turned on, so it doesn't go through my Geo. Now let's do it again. Okay. Cool. So I have geometry on my coin, nice and flat on the back. I am ready to create a normal map in ZBrush. So again, if this is something you're interested in learning and using, watch, take notes so that you know how to do this later. If you come and ask me this later today, you're going to see what being angry is, which I don't think you've seen yet. And if you think I'm angry now, I'm really not. So, to get a normal map out of this, I need to go back to my lowest subdivision level because that is what the normal map is going to be applied to. So I'm going to get my divisions, I'm going to crank them all the way down. Below my geometry tab here, if I scroll here, there's something that says normal map. I'm going to now create a normal map in my lowest subdivision level. Again, I bring my subdivision levels down to 1 under geometry. And then I go to normal map because that's what I'm making, and then I hit create normal map. You should see ZBrush think for a little bit. You can see it's going through its thinking, and then a blue and purplish image should pop up in here. That's my normal map. You go over it and you can see a more detailed version of it to see if it turned out okay. From there, I'm going to hit clone normal map. What this basically does is it puts my normal map into my texture swatch right down here. And this will allow me to get my normal map out of ZBrush. So again, after I create a normal map, I then clone my normal map. What? Sure, here on the top, because that's where it's loaded in, and I have all my settings. Towards the bottom of texture, I can set my resolution for the map. If I want it to be a 1024, I can hit enter, and I can. $48, that's fine. about the ZBrush stuff I just did? Anybody? Does that not make sense to anyone? Is there any
No,
steps?
it does.
Does anybody have any steps they want me to go over?
After subdivision? Sorry, I was in the middle of writing when you said that.
After what? After I bring down my divisions?
Yeah.
After I bring down my divisions, that's where you come to your normal map area and you hit create normal map.
Okay.
And then clone.
Once your normal map gets created, you then hit clone normal map in the same window.
Okay.
Alright? Did you get everything after that?
I got that part.
The texture part that came
Yeah,
after?
I didn't hear what you said
What I
after.
was saying right there?
after
Okay,
division,
that's
so-
cool. Just want to make sure everybody got what I was saying. Is there anything else that anybody missed? Anybody? Yes.
So we do not need to bring that image into Photoshop at all?
Nope. If there are issues with your normal map, you could fix them in Photoshop using healing brush, spot healing brush. But other than that, no, there's no need to bring it into Photoshop unless you had to flip it or you wanted to mess with your contrast levels or something like that.
Like,
So,
like when if you forget to flip it, I could just go to Photoshop and where do you go to flip it?
if you go under your transforms, if you go to image adjustments, I think it's image or edit transform, there should be something that has to do with flip vertically. If not, if you go to free transform and then you right click in Photoshop, it will give you an option to flip vertically, and that's what you would do. All right, so now in Maya, let's open up my coin scene. Nope. Let's try it again. Assets. Normal map demo. Coin test. Beautiful. Save. Okay. Go away, you together. So here's my coin in Maya. It's looking lovely. I'm gonna do all these good things to it. And now what I need to do is I need to apply a shader to the coin that is going to have the normal map attached to it. Basically, every new normal map you're going to apply in Maya needs a shader to hold that normal map. And then that shader is applied to your geo. So right now, if I were to click on my coin, let me actually go back here. If I click on my coin and I look at the attribute editor, what I will see is that my coin has initial shading group on it, which is Lambert 1. That's what everything in Maya by default has on it, all right? I do not want to ever mess with that shader. I don't want to do anything to that shader. So I have to make sure to make a new one so I'm not messing with that shader.
So I never mess with the Lambert that's already been added.
Correct. Do not mess with the Lambert one that is in there because that is the default shader that is on everything. So if you're trying to adjust a shader on one mesh and it's the Lambert one, it will end up adjusting on every mesh, and you don't want that. Eventually, if you have shaders on everything, you can mess with it, but I wouldn't. I would just make a new shader. So I'm going to make a new shader by going to Create, Materials, Blend, Foam, Lambert, whichever. I'm going to use a blend.
Like where you go first before you create new shader?
First, you have to go to your Hypershade, which you can either hit this little blue circle up here, or you can go to Windows, Rendering Editors, Hypershade.
Like apply shader bit, go to Hypershade.
You have to go to your Hypershade to make a material. This is where you edit all of your materials in your Hypershade. And then I have my Blend 2 here, which I did Create, Materials, Blend.
Wait, you're not going so fast.
Okay.
To make it material using blend.
I said Create, Materials. I made a blend, but you can do a Foam or a Lambert. And then I need to put the material on my coin. There are two ways to do that. I can either A, middle mouse button drag from the material, you'll see a little plus button come up, and put it on the coin, or I can select the coin and then right click on the material and say assign material to selection. Those are the two ways you can do that.
Okay, what's the first way?
I can middle mouse button drag from the material to the mesh I want to put it on. But the other way you can do it is by selecting the mesh, right clicking on the material, and say assign material selection. Either one works.
Middle mouse button, and another way is to
Select your mesh, right click on Blend 2, or right click on the material and go up to Assign Material to Selection. Or I can even do it, I think, through here, probably, Edit. There's probably a way to assign materials up here as well, but I'm not going to go through that right now. So, once I'm done with that part of it, I need to go to the Hypershade and go to that material, or not the Hypershade, my attribute editor on the right. It's this little button up here. And I'm going to go to my Blend 2, and in my bump mapping, I'm going to attach my file. So when I hit that bump mapping thing, this window comes up. What I want to attach is a file, so I'm going to hit File. I'm going to change bump to tangent space normals because we are creating a normal map, not a bump map.
Like after you go first, you go to attribute editor and then bump.
You go to your attribute editor. You need to go, you can select the mesh, or you can select the material in the Hypershade. It's up to you, but then you need to go to the material attached to the mesh. Blend 2 is the one that I have here. So you need to select that. You then need to click bump mapping right here, and normally that would take you to where you would load it up, which is a window something like this. And then in your bump value, you're going to see this little arrow. You're going to click that, and then here in the folder that shows up, I'm going to attach my normal map. I'm navigating to my normal map. No idea which one it was. Modified. Normal map coin _ demo. And then I hit open, and now my normal map is there. It is on the material. The material's already on my mesh, so my normal map's ready to go. All I have to do is hit 6, and then my normal map shows up in scene. There you go. I have a normal map on my coin. Those are the steps from creating a normal map in ZBrush to getting it onto your mesh in Maya.
So I hit open, then hit key 6.
After you've put the normal map into the shader, then you just hit the 6th key, and you should see it in your window.
The options that scroll down section, what was it that you said put a select on?
What was it, what?
When you got into the bump value,
Hold on.
there was 2 options.
Yes. You have to make sure that you change it from... Get back to it. Oh, crap. Here, this is what you're talking about, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
You had like a drop down.
Right.
It had a little drop down thing.
This is the drop down. So it's by default set to bump, but you guys are making normal maps, so you have to change it to tangent space normals.
Okay, got it.
Alright? And then you click on here, and it'll take you to the file area where you can put the file in.
Okay.
Other questions? Is there any part of this process that did not make sense to anyone that you would like me to go over again? I'm offering this up to all of you right now. Any part of it at all. I'm taking your collective silence as I understood that, and I took notes, Paul. So when I have to do this later, did you have a question? Is that a hand? Okay. I'm taking this as I understood what you did. I took notes. And if I didn't take notes, it's because I understood so well that I remember it. Right? Does anyone have any questions about this? Again, please address them now instead of individually with 40 people. I can't do it. I don't have the patience. I'm sorry. Normally I do, but not today. Good? Yeah? Did everybody get it?